This is the High School Football America podcast for March the 23rd, 2021. I'm Jeff Fisher. The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by GameStrat, America's premier sideline instant replay system with outstanding reliability, faster speed than Huddle Sideline, plus GameStrat has awesome customer service with different plans priced right for every coach's budget. To get a demo, go to GameStrat.com or click on the GameStrat banner ad located on every page of High School Football America. All right, springtime is here. And we've got spring football in America in about a dozen states, but I love this time of year. I think we've done it for the last 2 years. This will make 3 years in a row where I invite good friend Joe from Prep Gridiron Logistics onto the show here. He has a database that he's been working for multiple years now and putting together some of the biggest interstate high school football matchups in the nation. I think his headache is gone after what happened last year with COVID and all the changes, but Joe's here to talk about his big games this year. We're going to count it down 10-1, but for right now, Joe, I hope all is good up there in northern New Jersey with you, and I'm just happy to have you on here, and we're talking football in 2021.
Yeah, Jeff, thanks for having me. This is always my favorite time of the year when I get to spend some time with you and alert the high school football community about some of the elite games coming up in 2021.
And I think before we started rolling the tape, my words to you, my exact words were, it's refreshing. It's a breath of fresh air to know that you've been putting together interstate games, because at this time last year, as things started to fall apart due to the coronavirus pandemic, we didn't know what was up. So it's good to see that. Before we get into it all, I'd like to, because I'm getting a lot of requests from people, on Twitter saying, would you retweet this? We're looking for games. We're looking for that. I'd love for you to take a little bit of time here to kind of talk about what Prep Gridiron Logistics does. You've been on the show before, but again, if nobody's ever heard you, I'd like to give you a little pitch there, because you do such a great service for high school football. And by the way, it's all out of the goodness of his heart, folks. This guy is a real good supporter, lover of high school football. But take it away. Put on that pitch hat there, Joe.
Yeah, we started the company in 2015. We're based in northern New Jersey, and at that time, all the power privates up in our area, the Don Boscos of the world, Bergen Catholic, St. Joe's, St. Peter's, as they got more successful, they were having harder times finding games, not only out of state, but also in state. The public stopped playing them. They claimed it was unfair to move forward. So at the time, my son was at Don Bosco, and I knew the AD pretty well. And so I said, you know what, I could help. I have experience in this area. I was in athletic administration on the college level at Dayton at D3 and Florida State D1 under Coach Bowden. So I knew people. So the first game I ever put together was a home and home between Don Bosco and Cincinnati Moeller. And I purely did that because of the relationships. A buddy of mine from college was a principal at Moeller. I called him up. And at that time, Bosco was in, around their heyday when they were winning national championships. So I was surprised how easy it was to do. And I also did it with Don Bosco again in 2015 for their 100th anniversary. They flew up Archbishop Rummel from the New Orleans area and played them, and all through relationships that I had. So I started this database and created the website, prepgridironlogistics.com. And now, going on 6 years later, I've over 300 teams signed up to receive my scheduling alerts every couple of weeks. Basically, with the press of one button, I'm letting 300 head coaches and administrators know, hey, these teams need these games on these dates. And it's going well. And like you said, I do it as a labor of love. I do not collect any funds or charge any fees. Coaches actually approach me sometimes and ask me, what do I owe you? And I said, you know what, just give it to the visiting team. They need it more than I do. So it's working well. More and more teams are reaching out to us. And you'll see by this list, there are a lot of new names on this list that in prior years wouldn't have been on it. So that being said, I mean, let's rock and roll towards the 2021 top 10 out-of-state games.
Yeah, very interested to see some of the names on there. And why don't we just we're gonna do it just like you do in any countdown. We're going the biggest number to the smallest number, which is number 1. So let's start at number 10. Who do you have there slotted in at the 10th best interstate game this year?
All right, at number 10 we have Christopher Columbus out of the Miami area visiting Benedictine Military out of Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. Obviously, Columbus is a big name. They're an 8A power down there. Benedictine is a regional power in their area. The two teams committed to a home-and-home for the next 2 seasons. Columbus will be going to Savannah in year 1 on August 27th.
You can't beat a trip to Savannah, that's for sure. I'm going to take this moment here to because we got a lot of what's the word? I'm going to say flack, heat. Last year, the High School Football America 100, the algorithm got a little its butt kicked, right? With teams not playing, states not playing, and Columbus was a little bit lower than they should have been. But that is a powerhouse out of Florida. Let's go up to number 9, and I love this program because I met the coach probably 5 or 6 years ago when they were just starting to inch up. And now they got one of the all-time great coaches. I'm looking forward to this next matchup, so hit me with it.
Yeah, number 9, we have Louisville Male going to New Orleans to play John Curtis Christian.
Oh, you cannot beat a matchup like that. And Males spent a lot of time in our top 100. And what I love about this is when these big state powers start calling you up to get those interstate. That's when you know they're interested in that mythical national championship. Number 9, got another team in there I see from Louisiana, and I love this matchup. Hit us with it.
Right. This is a homecoming of some sorts. We have American Heritage Plantation playing at Edna Carr, which is the high school alma mater of Heritage's head coach, Patrick Surtain Sr.
Gotta love that one, and of course, Coach Surtain was our coach of the year last year. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was supposed to talk to his son. They were having the pro day, the NFL was, and he wasn't able to make it. We're going to talk to him next week. I want to find out who's a better defensive back. Dad says it's him. Son says it's him. We're probably going to say it's him. So it'll be interesting to see. Okay, up we go to number 7, and boy, this is another one that's got me real interested.
Yeah, number 7, we have the third Louisiana team noted so far. Catholic High School of Baton Rouge is going to be going up to the Washington, D.C. area to play Good Counsel on September 3rd.
Love that one. Of course, Catholic going to be a little bit changed now. The Gay4T has gone on to Louisville, but they've done a great job, highly ranked in our top 100 as we go along here. And this one here, I can already see you booking your tickets to because this looks like a football game and a vacation for you all at once. Who's at number 6?
Yeah, number 6. This is there's Football University is putting on an event, a 2-game event called Battle at the Beach in Naples, Florida, on September 4th. This game is going to pit together Bishop Gorman out of Nevada against Miami Central.
Yeah, come on, folks. If this isn't getting the blood pumping for 2021, nothing will. And I like this one. It looks like I better circle my date here on September the 17th for the showdown number 5, the fifth best in your mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Number 5, right in Jeff Fisher's backyard, we have Chaminade Madonna from South Florida visiting Buford, the Wolves, on September 17th.
The Wolves, folks, if you don't know this, they are a team that has grown from a little town, and they have won state championships in Georgia in everything but the 7A classification. Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6A. They are great. Up to number 4, and finally got one of those teams there from that northern New Jersey area. Go ahead.
Yep. So we have.
Oh wait, I skipped over. We skipped over one there. So we got to go back to number 5 there. What do we have here? I lost count.
So we have, and people. I've run this list by some of the fans that we have on our sister website, prepgridiron.com, and some were scoffing how high this is, but I'll explain why after we review it. So we have another team from your area of Georgia, Milton, is going to be traveling up to the city of brotherly love to take on St. Joe's Prep on September 10th.
That's one making a trip for, and I agree with you. I am a big fan of what Milton's done here with Adam Clack. Coach Sly, the AD there, has done a great job. They really step up, and maybe that's a good place right now. We're in kind of the middle there to talk about that. Do you feel that when teams call you, obviously there's a need, but there's others that say, we want to step the program up to the national level. I know Milton is one of those that says, hey, we want to play a quality national schedule to get us ready for the Georgia State Championships. Is that something you find on a regular basis?
Yeah, I do, especially with them. Coach Clack, in my opinion, is one of the top coaches in America.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent a lot of time with him. You know, every year, right before the Georgia high school football state champions start, I take all my Georgia clients out for a big dinner down in the area. Just sitting with him, and he outlined his plan and his goals and his aspirations for the program. And he really has his head on straight and has achieved everything so far. Why this game is number as so high on this list, number four. He feels he has a once in a generation team at Milton. He thinks this is the best team ever assembled at that high school. They have the number one recruit in the entire class of 2023, Levius Overton, defensive end. And he said, Joe, I want to play the best team you could find me in 2021. And obviously, there's not many teams better than St. Joe's Prep based on the last 2 years' rankings.
Yeah, and Tim Roken just reloads there, as did Gabe Infante before him. That is a program I'm very proud of, being the Pennsylvania guy that I am. Now that I've jumped the gun, but we go to number 3. Finally, a team from Northern New Jersey hit us with it. I love this
right.
one.
Yeah, and again, this is another home and home. I mean, the couple that we've mentioned so far are home and home series, so they'll probably be on this list again next year when we're speaking. The Columbus Benedictine game was a home and home. Catholic Baton Rouge Good Counsel was a home and home, and now Bergen Catholic is traveling to Akron, Ohio, to play the Division II champs, Archbishop Hoban, on August 27th.
Yeah, and I had Vito Campanile on last week on one of our interviews on Zoom, and he was just pumped up about that game, and a good one. Again, this is Joe from Prep Gridiron Logistics. Check out his website, prepgridironlogistics.com. He can help you out if you're out there looking for games. I noticed Venice this morning tweeted out, John Peacock pointed it out. I don't know if you've worked with them, but get with them. They're a great program down there in Florida. Yeah. Find them something. So let's go to number 2. Drum roll as we get closer to the top. And this team is no stranger to going out of state. They've been doing it before it was cool to do it, I think.
You're right. Both of these teams have really registered a quality out-of-state wins over the years. So we have on October 1st, Louisville Trinity visiting St. Xavier out of Cincinnati.
And that should pump them up, just because their arch rival in Louisville is St. X, obviously.
Exactly.
But yeah, Steve Speck is not afraid of anybody. Bob Beatty at Trinity. Those teams have really, like I said, doing out-of-state games before it was cool. And I'm so happy for this one. I know there's some people out there going, well, they're private schools and all that at the top. But I'm just happy for this one school, because I had a lot of chats during the off season where they weren't able to play, and it's been a long off season for them. But drum roll, please. The number 1 game in interstate high school football in 2021 is.
All right, we have, and it's a home and home game 2. This game 1 was played in 2019. We had to skip last year, so this is the second of the 2-year deal. We have St. Francis from Baltimore visiting Bradenton to play IMG on November 19th. And Jeff, this game is strategically placed around Thanksgiving towards the end of the season, because both of these teams hope to be undefeated, and we hope the winner ends up being national champion.
Yep, nope. No, that's exactly where it's placed. It's funny. I had not had a chance to see the St. Francis HBO documentary until last week, literally. I've just been so busy. And, boy, that was interesting to watch. I know you've had a long relationship with the guys there at with the Panthers and all that. What's that like, trying to fill their schedule? It can't be easy, that's for sure.
No, those two teams, I tell them all the time, they need each other. Mm-hmm. This game must be played annually. They are the 2 most feared teams in high school football. I'd say number 3 and 4 would be Mater Dei and St. John Bosco. Those 4 teams, when I'm looking for games for them, I get a lot of responses when I send my initial email out. And then when I tell them who the teams are, I kind of hear crickets and people go silent. So those are the big 4, the Fab 4, in my opinion. They all should be playing each other on an annual basis. I know California now, with these rules that they established, they're prohibiting the teams from playing IMG. But it makes no sense why St. Francis Bosco and Mater Dei can't rotate and play every year. I actually have a 4-year plan I'm presenting to all three administrations, like a round robin, where each season for the next 4 years, St. Francis will play Mater Dei and St. John Bosco. The California teams will rotate, come into Baltimore. So year one, Mater Dei would come to St. Francis, and St. Francis would go to St. John Bosco, and then that would rotate for the next 3 years. So I'm going to present it to the administration, see what happens. But those 4 teams, those 3 plus IMG, need each other. They need to be playing each other each and every year. And it also helps when teams like Duncanville. Last year, Duncanville hosted IMG. You know, the top Texas teams need to be playing these teams too. They're all in that same bucket of Tier 1 elite school. So high school football is best when they're playing each other.
Yeah, no, you and I definitely agree upon that. And, before we get to some of the honorable mentions, you mentioned something there, and people may have noticed that, there is not a California team in there yet. I was just curious what their situation is. We know it's always, as you said, hard to schedule them, but with them playing their limited 6-game regular season, I mean, are they kind of doing double duty at this point, meaning they're playing and you're trying to help them schedule? I mean, where's the balance on all that for the fans out there?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. I spoke with the AD at Mater Dei and Coach Negro just yesterday, and I'm as we speak, I'm trying to find them games next September. A couple of years ago, if you remember, we promoted the Trinity League versus the USA event. It was a triple header. It's when we had St. Francis go out and play Mater Dei. We're trying to do that again in 2021. So my goal right now for the September 10th weekend is to find those 2 teams and J. Serra and Servite, 4 out-of-state opponents to play during that weekend. We're not there yet, but hopefully the next time you and I speak, we'll be able to mention how those games are going. If any team is listening right now, any coach administrator, and you want to go to Southern California and play the best that high school football has to offer, please reach out to us, because we're in the process of filling those slots right now. That would be the September 10th weekend in Southern California.
Yeah, I don't know that there was ever a better weekend of high school football in one spot than that Trinity League versus the USA that you did. This is Joe from Prep Gridiron Logistics. We joke, actually he coined himself this, Joe from State Farm, to give State Farm a plug, but they are my insurance company. But
mine too, Jeff, mine too.
Trust me, they've got enough money of mine right now, but maybe they do need to be a sponsor of High School Football America. But let's go on to the honorable mention, because there are a lot of great games around the nation, and I think the 3 that you have listed here that I have in my eyeballs right now, so take a shot at them. But I do know I owe you one of the head coaches on the podcast here, and we can talk about that in a second, but hit us up with the honorable mentions.
Great. So first, in no certain order, these are the 3 games I had a hard time getting a slot for. So basically with these 3, this is our top 13. As you know, in Milton every year, the Freedom Bowl is held. It's a 3-day event. This year it's going to be Georgia versus the USA, where 3 or 4 Georgia teams take on the best out-of-state competition we can bring in. And the headline Thursday night of that week, September 2nd, I believe the date is, Life Christian Academy out of Virginia, the top team in Virginia, in my opinion anyway, is going to be playing at Milton. So that's the honorable mention game number 1, and obviously that gives Milton 2 slots in our top 13. Next, at the Corky Cal Classic, we have Hoover coming into Atlanta to play North Gwinnett, which should be a great matchup. And last but not least, the second game of the Battle of the Beach in Naples, we talked about already, on September 4th. Brookwood, Georgia is going to be playing American Heritage. So you see American Heritage also has 2 slots in the top 13 if you include this honorable mention.
And I want to give you a little chance here, because you talked to me, and like I said, last year was a little crazy. We weren't able to get to the head of the program there at Life Christian, but you're pretty proud of that program and what they've been able to do. I know you work closely with them. They had a couple of huge quality wins last year. You and I had a couple of discussions on where we thought they ended up with a 2-3 record, just outside of the top 125. But I'd love to give you a little plug so people around the nation know what Life Christian's doing there in Virginia.
Yeah, I remember last year when we had this call, I had them I had them, I believe, the number one toughest schedule in all of high school football, and people were scoffing. They didn't know who they were, and they showed well. They went into Texas and beat Cibolo Steel, which was a great game, and they're on the rise. I mean, if you just think of the athletes in any sport that come out of the Richmond, Virginia area and that Tidewater area, this basically is the place to be right now. If you're a elite high school baller and you want to play for a great team in Virginia that travels America, Life Christian is the place to be. So we're proud for these stories, how we help catapult these unknown on the rise programs and bring them to national attention and get them the exposure they deserve.
Yeah, we're going to have to get to the HC on the line here and do a podcast with Myota. They did beat McCallie out of Tennessee too. I mean, they 2 quality wins, Texas and Tennessee. You can't scoff at that. I don't know. Are you willing to tease anybody out there with what may be on the horizon? Since we're still at the end of March, or there's some matchups out there that'll just get people salivating when they hear them.
I have one game I want to bring up. Again, this is a pending game. Contracts have not been signed, but administrations have been speaking for many months now. If and when the game happens, it'll be in the September-October timeframe up in Concord, California. We're trying to get St. Francis to visit De La Salle.
Oh my. That one right there will get people salivating. There's no doubt about that. I mean, talk a little bit about, you mentioned a little bit, but how much work does it take to get a game, an opponent for a St. Francis? Again, if you haven't seen the HBO feature, folks, you got to check it out. What Coach Apogee and Russell do there, incredible. Can you talk a little bit about the work that goes in that to convince people that it's worthy of a game?
Well, yeah, I was a born salesman to begin with. I'm third generation salesman by nature. So, I have to put my salesman cap on every time I pitch them. I mean, we talk about how in order to get your teams ready to play, you need to play the best regardless of outcome. The same thing happened with Bergen Catholic when they went a couple of years ago. They went into Mater Dei and got shellacked by like 48 or something. Yep. And then they come home and went undefeated in New Jersey and won a state championship. So that's the example I use when speaking to teams and trying to pitch, whether it's St. Francis or IMG or Mater Dei or St. John Bosco. To be the best, you need to play the best. That's our moniker. That's our hashtag. So again, we talk to every time we book a game with one of those Fab Four teams. I'll call up my buddies at Paragon. We'll see if we can get the game on ESPN. There are a couple of teams last year who played, whether it was IMG or I think mostly IMG. A couple of teams took the game purely because they were going to be on national TV, and that never would have happened. So that's a good reason too, because your kids are going to get film playing against the best, and if they play well, you could send out the following week clippings of how you did against St. Francis or IMG or the top 2 Trinity League teams. That helps a player get recruited. Again, it's all about national exposure. Most of these games, all of them, don't count versus your conference schedule. So if you play these games early in the season, it'll show that where you have flaws, whether it's on the offense or defensive side of the ball, you can correct them in time for your league conference games and go on and kick butt going forward in state. So that's basically my pitch. And, it works, I'd say, half the time. And the other half of the time, I have to go back to the drawing board and put out another search.
Yeah, I cannot even imagine the headaches you have, especially after last year. But I guess nothing's going to be as bad as last year, where you had to tear everything apart. Joe from Prep Gridiron Logistics is on the line as we wrap up here. You mentioned Milton, and I don't want to leave the public schools out because year in and year out, I think I've looked at it since 2013. At least half of our top 25 has the public bent to it. So there are some publics out there that have problems finding games too, except within their conference. Who would you say? You mentioned Milton. I think Hoover's always trying to go out of state and all that. Who are some of the? I know Thompson probably. I was talking to Coach Freeman the other week. He was saying that they need maybe a little something to put them up there. Who are some of the top public teams you like with their aggressiveness to do that mantra, right? Play anybody anywhere and then get back into it to try and win a state title.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the hardest public teams to find opponents for. Corona Centennial is one of them. A lot of people consider them a private public. I mean, they're just
I've heard that.
Good. Yeah, they're just that good, and they when they do play a top team, whether it's in California or IMG, remember that game? Remember that 52-51 game where the score was against IMG several years ago?
I can just close my eyes and see it.
Yeah, I would love to work more with them, but it's hard. Miami Central, obviously, is not an easy one to find an opponent for, especially another. I have some coaches who say, Joe, I only want to play another public. The coaches will flat out tell me when I first meet them, hey, I want to use your services, but please, I'm sticking with public to public. I don't want to go public versus private. And I'll do that. Grayson is another one where that's hard to find games for. But we do our best. The great thing about our technology is with the press of one button, in about 2 seconds, I can let, like I said, over 300 coaches and ADs know around the country from Seattle to Miami, hey, these teams are looking. These are the dates. This is what the travel stipend is. Call me if you're interested. And boom, games. We're scheduling games now in hours that used to take months to put together.
That is fantastic. It's good for the sport. You made me think of something here. I think I was you before there was you, because I was the guy that set up IMG Centennial.
Yeah,
you probably didn't know that.
You were my inspiration. I'm just perfecting what you started.
Well, you've done a hell of a job with it, Joe. There's no doubt about that. Before we go, coaches, if you're out there listening and you like what you're hearing from Joe, and trust me, I will vouch for this guy till the cows come home. It's all for the right reasons, for the good of the game and all that. Joe, how do people get in touch with you if they need to get in touch with you, if they need some games?
I have an email address, prepgridironlogistics@gmail.com. Also, you could sign up for our monthly scheduling alert at prepgridironlogistics.com. We also have a sister site for fans. If you want to debate how good your state is versus any other state, our sister site is prepgridiron.com. So between those three platforms, you can get a hold of us, and especially that last one, if you want to have a couple hours to spare and you want to get on your iPad and argue who has better football, Texas, California, Georgia, Ohio, prepgridiron.com is the place to visit.
Gotta have a thick skin. I've been on there, boy.
Oh, you're telling me nobody gets beat up more than yours truly.
Oh, but it's a lot of fun, folks. Joe, thank you so much for your friendship, and thank you for all you do for the sport. I mean, it's been phenomenal to watch the growth of your company and what you do, and there's not anybody that I talk to that doesn't say, Joe's heart's in the right place and he's doing the right thing for the game. So congratulations on everything, and thanks for joining us. I love the top 10, and look forward to hearing about some of the other games you bring together.
All right. I appreciate you including me every year, and as things progress, I'll keep you posted.
The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by the great new app, Small Player, Big Play, an age-appropriate, sports-focused social media platform designed to showcase and connect young athletes, parents, coaches, and friends. On Small Player, Big Play, young athletes have the ability to utilize the app and share their interest and accomplishments on a very safe and highly secure social media environment. It also features live streaming with game day highlights, and it has a lucrative fundraising opportunity for your school and your team. Download the Small Player Big Play app on Google Play and in the Apple App Store. That's today's High School Football America podcast, and I'm Jeff Fisher.